Yeah.
Yep.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
No, you didn't have to. We just get it.
Let me get everyone to ask everyone to please rise to observe a moment of silence. A great public official, Bernard Kenny Sr., lost his son, Bernard Kenny III, on November 20th. He was only 36 years old. Can add him to our intentions today. Thank you very much. Remain standing for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. On behalf of the Municipal Council, in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, but better known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board of the first floor City Hall the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2019, pardon me. In addition, at the time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on November 22nd, 2019 at 12 p.m. to the mayor, council, business administrator, the local newspapers, and posted on the World Wide Web. Council members, I know we have to add, we have late items 3.5, 3.6, and resolutions 1041 through 43. 1043 is not on the printed agenda. It's a resolution recognizing the Infinity Institute as a National Blue Ribbon School. Can I have a motion to add these items to the agenda?
I make a motion to put two items and the resolution as a late item.
I'm sorry. I'll second it. So, Robert, before you call for the vote, can council members vote on individual items?
Yeah, they're going to vote on the individual items. This is just to add it to the item, to the agenda for discussion.
Yeah, but can we vote on adding individual items to the agenda?
That's what you would be doing, sir.
Robert,
You mean in addition to what you have on the agenda now?
As opposed to a compound motion?
You want to? Is there anyone you want to separate out?
No, I make a motion and Councilman Richie Bojano seconded.
All of them.
Do we have a second to the motion?
Yes. Is it compound motion?
Then I have to take, we were going to defer to resolutions 10, 35, and 43. So it would be to add 3.5, 3.6, 1041 through 43, and defer to 35 and 43. If you don't want to add something to the agenda, simply vote no, and it's not on the agenda.
We're voting no to everything.
Right.
That's just,
That's why we want to do individual.
yeah.
Excuse me?
A no vote will result in a
No, you
voting no
could
on
say,
everything.
I vote not to add 10.41.
Okay, great.
You could do it that way.
I'm sorry?
You could vote not to add one item to the agenda, and one item might not make the agenda.
Great, let's go.
Okay, we need 6, remember. Okay, this is to add 3.5,
cast your vote.
3.6, 1041 through 43, and defer to 1035 and 1043.
I don't know what he's doing.
Councilman Yun, you made the motion, seconded by Councilman
Rich,
Baggiano. Councilperson Ridley,
So I'm going to vote to add 1041 and 1043. 43 is the resolution for Infinity, correct?
correct.
Okay.
Okay, you vote no on 3.5 and 3.6?
Yes.
Prinzary,
I'm voting no on 3.5, yes on 3.6, and yes on 1041 through 43.
and you will defer, right, okay. So it's just no on
yes, I-
3.5. Councilman Baggiano?
On yes on all of them.
Councilman Yun?
I voted for I for introduction for, actually agenda.
To add to the agenda.
Right, add to agenda.
Okay. Councilman Solomon?
So I'm going to vote no on 3.5 and 3.6. On 3.5, I think we should have this conversation after a new council president is in office, but I think we should look at all the council rules comprehensively. And then 3.6, I just want us to make sure as much as we can we follow the regular order on ordinances.
Councilperson Robinson?
I didn't get a chance to look at any of this. I'm gonna vote no for, well, I guess the December 6th has already passed, or no?
It needs 2/3, so that's yet to be.
I'm not feeling well at all. I'm voting no on all of them,
On,
on all.
including the resolution, sir?
Yes. No, didn't you have a resolution, 43 for the Infinity?
41 through 43. We're doing 41 through 43. So we're voting to add
Yes
3.5.
on 43, no on all the rest.
Councilperson Rivera?
No on 3.5, aye on the rest.
Councilperson Waterman?
Yes on 41 and 43, and no on all the rest.
Could you repeat that for me? I'm sorry. I was adjusting the camera.
41 to 43, and no on all the rest.
41 and 43, or 41 through 43?
41 to 43, yes.
So you're voting no to add 3.5 and 3.6 to the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. Council President?
I vote yes on 41, yes on 43, and no on all the rest, and just a short statement, which is, again, just, we've said repeatedly about just if it's an urgent matter, then late items should be added, but getting late items literally the day of the council meeting does not provide the council adequate time to be able to review these items. So, and then with regard to 3.5, while I think there may be some merits to the proposal, I think we should look at it from some different angles there and see what would be work best in terms of the future of the council presidency and the term, length and term of that council presidency. So I don't want to rush that whole process. That's
So you're just voting no, you're voting no on 3.5, 3.6, and,
yes on 41 and 43, no on the others, 42.
okay, so 1042, you're voting no.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're going to defer to 35 and 43. Let me tally the votes here. 3.5 does not make the agenda, has 2 votes in the affirmative. Council members Baggiano and Yun. 3.6. Fails to make the agenda, 4 votes in the affirmative, 5 against. Voting against, Ridley, Solomon, Robinson, Waterman, and the President. The resolutions make the agenda. 1041. Is 8-1 with Councilman Robinson voting no. 42 makes the agenda by a 7-2 vote, Councilpersons Robinson and Council President voting no.
Did you vote yes on that?
Okay.
On 42? Did you vote yes? No, your tallies are not correct.
Okay. So then correct me. Where am I incorrect, sir?
Can we just go down the list? Council President Ridley, what were your votes on that? For 42. 42, Council President Ridley was a no.
Okay, I apologize.
Councilman Prinzary, you were yes?
I was yes.
And then
Yeah, okay, so that still makes the cut. It's 6-3.
Councilman Solomon on 42?
He had only I had only referenced the ordinances in my vote, although I guess it applies to the same issue of adding things late unless there's an emergency. So I can vote no on 42.
Well, now that sinks it. It's a 5-4 vote. It needs 6. So 42 is scratched from the agenda tonight. Okay, we never had quite a complicated thing like that to add anything to the agenda, so we have that. So out of contention is 3.6, 3.5, 3.6, and 41. 41 is made it, 42 is out. So included in that was a motion to defer to 10:35. Let me get the resolution, so I can read the title. $10:35 is a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with the County of Hudson and the Jersey City Employment and Training Program regarding the sharing of costs to fund the Hudson County, Jersey City Workforce Development Board.
1035.
That's 1035. That was added to the agenda, and we're deferring to it. Councilperson Ridley?
So the
That
council's
was on the
deferring to...
agenda. We're not adding that to the agenda. We're
I'll just make a short statement about that. So we're deferring to 10.35. We have in attendance, and we do this as a courtesy to former council member. We in fact have in the House today the first Hispanic councilman for the city of Jersey City, Ben Lopez, and the first Hispanic woman councilperson, Nydia Lopez. Welcome, both of you.
Ben's from Princeton. He was my first BA. We've gotten old together.
10.3.
So, council members, are we ready to vote on 1035?
35.
Councilperson Ridley?
Aye.
Prinzary? Aye. Bajano?
Aye.
Yun?
Aye.
Solomon?
I think there have a lot of been very genuine concerns raised about JSEP that some of my council colleagues, Councilman Robinson, Councilwoman Waterman, Council President Lavarro, have been very forceful in addressing. You know, it seems like this is a necessary step, so I'm going to vote aye, but also follow the lead of my colleagues on staying on top of the developments with JSEP.
You're voting aye, sir. Voting yes. Thank you. Councilperson Robinson?
Aye.
Rivera?
Aye.
Waterman? Lavarro?
So I do have many concerns about this. I am going to vote aye, but I just want to get a couple of things on the record. You know, the agreement itself doesn't necessarily spell out in great depth.
For some reason, we're carrying very loud. If everyone would just move their microphone away
Sure.
from you a little bit.
Okay. So
We usually have the opposite problem.
yeah. So the agreement doesn't go into great detail about kind of roles and responsibilities with regard to kind of monitoring JSEP and the monies, and the expenditure of the monies in that regard. And so that concerns me in and of itself. But knowing that we've had this agreement in place in the past, and perhaps there is a need for stronger language in these agreements to be able to make sure that we're monitoring this more closely. That being said, there is an agreement that's supposed to come before the council, as we discussed at the last caucus meeting. It's an agreement between the Jersey City Employment and Training and the City of Jersey City. And so I just want to get on for the record from the administration. Will that agreement be coming before the City Council in the near future? And you don't necessarily have to commit to the date, but do you anticipate this agreement coming before the council?
Yeah, it should be coming. We don't have a date, you're right, but it will be coming before council.
Okay. And so that agreement, as I pointed out in the caucus, there's language in there regarding kind of the composition of the board, and would like to see that that language include language that includes a council appointee to the board, so that we have a representation on that board to provide oversight. And then with regard to all of the appointees, which were nominated and by the mayor and the administration, that rather than just be a nomination by the mayor, that it be subject to the advice and consent of the city council for every one of the appointees. So with that being said, I will vote aye for this tri-party agreement and look forward to continuing to work with Ben and the county in ensuring that we deliver these services, much-needed services, to our residents.
Okay, we have a 9-0 for 1035. We deferred to 1043, which did indeed make the agenda. It's a resolution recognizing the Infinity Institute as a National Blue Ribbon School. Councilwoman Ridley, you get the honor.
We have Dr. Dobson and everyone from Infinity Superintendent Walker to come up.
Yes, he is.
I'll read the resolution. Resolution recognizing the Infinity Institute as a National Blue Ribbon School. Council as a whole offered and moved for adoption the following resolution. Whereas every year, the National Blue Ribbon Schools program through the Department of Education recognizes outstanding public and private elementary, middle, and high schools based on their overall academic excellence. The National Blue Ribbon School Award affirms the work of students, educators, families, and communities in creating safe and welcoming schools where students master challenging content. And the Infinity Institute opened in September of 2010 on Old Bergen Road for grades 7 through 9. In a few short years, however, the Infinity Institute has grown into an innovative interdisciplinary secondary school serving grades 6 through 12. The Infinity Institute offers an accelerated college preparatory program in the Cambridge University curricula of rigorous language arts, science, and mathematics. And whereas in 2019, 312 public schools and 50 private schools from across the country were named Blue Ribbon Schools, the Infinity Institute was the only Jersey City school to make this prestigious list. Now therefore be it resolved that the members of the Jersey City Municipal Council do hereby congratulate the Infinity Institute on being honored as a National Blue Ribbon School and want the students and faculty to know how proud the city is of their outstanding achievement. Wait, Dr. Walker, we're going to take a vote first.
We'll just take the vote of the city council, and then we'll give you an opportunity to share a few words with us.
Okay, starting with you, Councilperson Ridley.
So I want to say congratulations. Infinity has a special place in my heart. This is right in the heart of Ward A, but in addition, I was principal for a day, and I was also the 2018 commencement speaker. So I've spent a lot of time at Infinity, and the things that are going on there are great. And, sometimes people call it the McNair of Greenville, but I say no. Infinity is Infinity, and McNair is McNair. So I vote aye.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Congratulations. Keep up the great work, and thank you for all you do for supporting and teaching the young people, the future generation of leaders for this city and for the states. Thank you. I vote aye.
Councilman Bajano.
I vote aye.
Councilperson Yun.
I vote aye. Congratulations. Thank you for your job.
Councilperson Solomon.
Thank you for all your hard work for our kids in our city. I vote aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Congratulations. I vote aye.
Councilperson Rivera.
Congratulations. Thank you for all the hard work you guys do up there. I definitely vote aye.
Councilperson Waterman.
Congratulations, I vote aye.
President.
Congratulations. Infinity's been delivering a great education to our students in Jersey City. Thank you all for the great work you do. 2018-19 was a challenging year for Jersey City Public Schools, and 19-20 going forward is as well. And despite all of that, you continue to excel. So we say congratulations. Thank you for your work. To all of you, thank you, Superintendent Walker, for your leadership in this Jersey City Public Schools. Congratulations. I vote aye.
Okay, give me a moment to get the camera on our guests. There's a lot more steps in this now. Okay, we have the camera on our guests. Who is going to step forward and say a few words? Please identify yourself for the record.
Sure, Franklin Walker, Acting Superintendent. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Council President Navarro, and certainly Councilperson Ridley for initiating this here resolution. I want to thank each and every one of you for your support in providing this opportunity for recognition of this great school. As was stated earlier, there were over 1,300 schools that applied for recognition and blue ribbon status, and just over 300 were approved. And Infinity High School was one of those schools. We have many pockets of excellence in Jersey City, and this is certainly one that we're very proud of. We certainly appreciate your support in this here honor and recognition and distinction, but we also just want to recognize and certainly commend the outstanding administration over there at Infinity High School. We have Dr. Tania Dobson and her partner, Dr. Kim O'Neill, two outstanding administrators. The success of a school certainly lies with strong administrators, and they reinforce that. They provide an atmosphere and a culture of achievement and excellence throughout the entire school, and everyone in the community, students and parents, they buy in. So I also want to certainly commend and appreciate and send thanks to those students that have accepted the challenge to be great, and those parents that have also been part of the process in making sure that those students are there ready to learn and be able to benefit from all that we have to offer at Infinity High School. So again, congratulations. We appreciate your support, and we certainly appreciate the support of the students and the job that the administrators are doing there. Thank you so much for your support and your commitment. We look forward to continued success at your school, and we know that'll rub off on some of the other schools too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Hey, if everyone faces that way, I think I'm going to get just give me a second to get this, please.
One more, Superintendent, one more. Congrats, Superintendent.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Council members, let me please read the titles of the first reading ordinances into the record. 3.1 is a franchise ordinance granting permission to 322, 333 Manhattan Avenue LLC, its successors and assigns, to make private improvements to and exclusively utilize a portion of lands within the roadway area of Manhattan Avenue public right-of-way located adjacent to 330 Manhattan Avenue, Jersey City, New Jersey. 3.2, City Ordinance 19-161, is an ordinance amending Chapter 218, Multiple Dwellings, Article 1, Security Service and Security Cameras, to prohibit multiple dwellings dedicated to senior citizen housing or housing for the disabled from being exempted from the requirement the owner-operator furnish on-site uniformed security personnel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 3.3 is 19-162 ordinance, An ordinance, 1, amending Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 7, permit parking to create metered parking at the municipal parking lot located at 477, 479 Central Avenue, northwest corner of Central Avenue and Congress Street. 2, amending Chapter 160, Fees, Section CC, Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Part 13, parking permits for municipal lots to make all the parking fees for the municipal parking lots along Central Avenue the same. 3.4, City Ordinance 19163 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Jersey City to renew the leases of Riverview Community Garden for the use of Block 3002, Lot 2, more commonly known as 285 Ogden Avenue, Brunswick Community Garden for the use of Block 389, Lots 19 and 20, commonly known as 174, 176 Brunswick Street, Ogden's End Community Garden for the use of Block 5202, Lots 28 and 29, more commonly known as 105 Ogden Avenue, and Mandela Community Garden for the use of Block 1905, Lot 36, more commonly known as 447 Martin Luther King Drive for community gardens. Council members, first reading ordinances.
Before we take a vote, Council President, I have to ask a question of the Business Administrator regarding 3.1, Ordinance 19-160.
Sure.
All right, so at the caucus meeting, I asked them, the person who represented the franchise applicant at the time, that asked improve, part of the improvement, we asked them on the lighting system. Do their lawyer contact with you? I know.
You're too close to the microphone, Councilman.
All right, can you hear me?
It's better if you move it a little bit away.
Can you hear him okay?
Yeah, but can you repeat that? Was it about lighting improvements?
Yes, because they're going to do paving, they're going to clean the lot, but also I'm asking them, this corner at the lot has a lighting issue, So I asked them to contact with the business administrator. So I want to make sure that not only paving, not only fencing, but also lighting is a part of.
I will confirm that they will be making lighting improvements. I will let you know well before second reading.
Okay, so also not only
Surprised the
that.
attorney isn't here tonight.
Yeah, he said he was going to be here, but
He's not here,
I'll
right?
check with him.
Oh,
Please
somebody's
step forward. Get me time to... 1 second, please. Please identify yourself for the record. Are you from Waters McPherson?
Ayana Gallardo, Waters McPherson. I'm Ayana Gallardo, A-I-Y-A-N-A. Gallardo, G-A-L-L-A-R-D-O. I'm filling in for Bob Kavanaugh. In regards to the lighting improvements, I can confirm with the client, but as far as I'm aware, any concerns in regards to lighting will be addressed.
So they're going to be this lighting system as a part of the improvement, yes?
I can confirm 100%. I don't know 100%, but I believe that they will be addressed.
We'll have Mr. Kavanaugh here at the next caucus.
Yes.
Okay, so do me a favor. This is just introduction, so I'm going to support that. But before we go second reading, they should come up with a business administrator when their franchise pre-added to the lighting system as a part of the improvement. Also, the franchise agreement like 20-some years without $1 a year. We understand they're going to invest the money, but $1 a year still, it's too cheap. And they're going to have a 20 parking space, their own space they're going to have it. So they should pay decent, the fee, franchise fee should pay the city of Jersey City. So those kind of two factors. One, lighting system as improvement. Second is a franchise fee instead of $1. They should pay a decent amount. When I say decent, they should be discussed with the business administrator, come up with some numbers to pay, okay?
As far as the second part, I was made aware that Bob Kavanaugh has been in contact with Brian Albert, I believe, in regards to that fee, and they're trying to come up with a solution.
Okay. As long as, $1 a year is out of question, okay? All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks.
Let me take For a roll call on first reading ordinances 3.1 through 3.4.
I just have just one quick comment for the record about 3.2. So, yeah.
I actually was going to ask someone.
Okay.
Well, before you ask, because I was watching, I'm sorry, I was going to ask something on 3.2 because I was actually watching it, the discussions that were happening. With respect to 3.2, is the Housing Authority aware of the security situation that we're having here? Is that what you was going to ask?
Actually, yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. So the Housing Authority did reach out to me, Vivian Brady Phillips, the director. She has some concerns with this ordinance regarding the additional cost that they would incur as a result of additional security. However, I spoke with Councilman Yun right before the meeting, and he's willing to meet with them to talk through this to make sure that it works between now and second reading, just to make sure that we can resolve any issues that they might have. It may lead to changes, I don't know, but that was, I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that.
So I just want to make sure, at some counts, this is what I call the senior housing and the disabled housing. We try to make sure that they provide attendant. So that couple of reasons. One is a security issue for our senior, but not only the security issue, also health emergency situation, because we had several cases in my area, something happened, health emergency situation, because attendant located in the lobby, they can save the life. But somehow, there's some senior housing or disabled housing operator try to cut their costs. They not look out for the seniors' security and health emergency situation. So this is about time the city council step up to protect our city, the people who live in senior housing and the people who need disabled housing. This is a great thing for protect our senior, and this is the right things to do. Even though they cost some actually occurred at certain place, but they should be provide their service. Another one, some council, my colleague, have a concern about that. When they provide security or attendant in their building, maybe they increase their rent, but it's not true. Because of senior housing, disabled housing, pay rent based on their income, not on expensive. So I just want to make sure that my colleagues worry about it's not issue. And even though housing authority, the housing they provide us based on income, so whatever they hire, attendant or security guard, is not going to impact rent for their individual people who live in unit. So I just want to make sure they're part of it, okay?
Okay. Let's call for the vote.
Councilperson Ridley, this is for 3.1 through 3.4.
Aye for introduction.
Prinzeri,
Aye for introduction.
Bajano. Yun.
Aye for introduction.
Solomon.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye for introduction.
Rivera.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye for introduction.
President.
Aye for introduction, and just on 3.2, great job, Councilman Yun. Good job. How often do you hear me say that? I vote aye.
Okay, council members, before we even get to them, I'll put the camera on Councilman Solomon. So we can make a motion to
What did you
remove
wrong to me?
4.1 and 4.2.
Good job.
We'll
As I understand, we're going to break the cycle, and we're not going to make it the next agenda, but on my daughter's 21st birthday on January 8th.
yes, correct. So make a motion
8th, to Clementine's birthday.
or make a motion.
This is a motion to remove 4.1 and 4.2 from the agenda and advertise for the January 8th, 2020 council meeting. And that's, the motion is by you, Councilperson Solomon.
Yes, I make the motion.
Second.
Well, at least it's going to break the streak. Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Prinzary,
Aye.
Agiano, Yun,
I just that removed that. This is, I think, a second time and third time,
Maybe fourth.
fourth time. Oh, God. But I just bring up the issue, my concern about this one. That 4.1, this is actually neighborhood district, and the current one is not allowed the hotel, but new one they want to allow that the hotels, and the neighborhood district allow the hotel. I think doesn't make any sense to me. And another one is includes the housing criteria, and the low-income house. So it's okay that all those things, but the poll. But I mean,
Deferred till January 8th.
January. But I like a Councilman James Sullivan look into their matters.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. I doubt that we were going to vote on them in this form, but if we do, we'll make sure everyone has ample notice and full, public discussion.
And also, Councilman James Solomon, page 6F, it's affordable housing parking requirement. Residential minimum 0.5 space per unit, except the parking is not required for inclusion or affordable dwelling unit. I think that's an issue because even though people affordable housing units, they need somehow parking space because when they take up parking rate from them, actually we take up job opportunity from them also.
this is to debate this on
Yeah,
January
so just
next year.
when you bring up the next time, I want you to make a consider that part of it. All right? Okay, I voted for aye. Yep.
Councilman Solomon? Robinson? Rivera?
Aye.
Waterman?
Aye.
President?
Aye.
Okay. We're to second reading ordinances, council members. Well, were to second reading. These are going to go on January 8th. Nothing makes you feel as old as your daughter turning 21. 4.3, council members, is an ordinance rescinding ordinance 16011 and terminating the tax exemption and financial agreement with 305 Westside Avenue Urban Renewal LLC. This is a public hearing. Are there any members of the public wishing to be heard?
Yes, a tax abatement is rateable, and this will now become a tax abatement is not a rateable, and this will be a rateable. So I would like to know what would the rateable be added to the rateable base. Do you know what it would be?
That's a question to the tax assessor.
Okay, well, I'm happy to see this happen, but I think that should be added to the ordinance when it comes before you, because you're really making my taxes go down the following year because you're adding a rateable to the whole, to the tax rate, which is good for the public. So I will hope in the future that when you do this, take away abate, let us, the public, know exactly what it is. Thank you very much.
Public hearing. Anyone else wishing to be heard? And we have a motion by Councilperson Rivera, seconded by Councilperson Prinzary. On the motion, Councilperson Ridley,
Aye.
Prinzary,
I'll be brief. This property was up for repeal or tax abatement back in January. The developer had come to us because there were some issues that she had with her contractor and general contractor. Nobody wants to see a project fail, so we gave her some space to try and get this done, and unfortunately, now they're a delinquent in paying it to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. It's unfortunate because This property and the lot adjacent to it have both been vacant for many years. It would have brought some economic development to the area with the new residents moving in, giving some of the businesses like the Miss America Diner across the street new customer base. It also is a blight, and it's quite frankly a safety hazard as well. So we've done the best we can, and I'm voting yes. And when developers come in, they have to be responsible for the projects that we start.
That's to close the public hearing, okay. Councilman Bajano to close? Yuen?
Yes.
Rivera? Excuse me, Solomon?
Aye.
Robinson? Rivera? Yuen?
Aye.
Waterman? Lavaro?
What is it?
You seen that,
I
right?
want you to be quiet
He
twice.
skipped, he went back to him.
Yeah, you asked me twice.
Oh,
So I'm
aye.
Christian,
I want you to be
answer
quiet twice.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, on the final vote for City Ordinance 155, item 4.3. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Prinzary.
I was so eager to get this done that I jumped the gun, so I'm not going to repeat myself and vote aye.
Bajano. Yun.
aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye. It's 4.3.
I'm sorry, Rivera, we skipped Danny.
Yeah, we missed it.
Danny.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye. Aye.
And Lavaro.
Aye.
We have a 9-0 vote for the final adoption of City Ordinance 19-155, item 4.3 on tonight's agenda.
Before we move on, council members, I overlooked, we have another former council person here, maybe as a courtesy. Michelle Massey, the former Ward F councilwoman's here.
That's right.
And she was here
That's
for
right.
the SID.
Right.
Some council members may have had questions, I believe, and asked to be able to.
If we have no questions, we'll just,
Just vote on it. Just vote on it.
Did other council members have questions?
refer to it. Does anyone have any questions? We can just release her. And
Yeah, we can just release her if it's.
You know,
let her have a Merry Christmas.
Council President, actually at the council caucus meeting, I asked a few questions. So I asked him that the president of Jackson Hill Main Street SID have the meeting, and I had the meeting today, this afternoon, and that she answered all of my questions. I have no further questions. Keep the good work. Thank you.
Great. You are released.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your night.
We'll vote for your resolution during the
Thank you.
consent agenda. Thank you.
Have a good one, Michelle.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
4.4 is an ordinance banning the sale and/or distribution of electronic smoking devices that deliver flavored tobacco products.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask a question. Is there any way we can, it's, normally when we pass a resolution, is 21 day, ordinance is 21 days out to take effect. With this one, could we add 90 days
So which one?
Change,
to change?
start provision.
Right.
Yes, you can amend it.
Right. Could we do that? I know we can, but I just want the law department to just put it in there. It's not. It's, normally we've done it. That's why.
Okay, let's close the public hearing first.
Yeah, we went there.
Councilperson Ridley?
You didn't open it.
Open the public hearing. Sorry.
You know,
Apologize.
can I just say something?
I know there's people here who will.
Robert,
Business, I was trying to get.
Yes, sir.
I think this should be pulled. I'll tell you why. Because somebody got up here and spoke at the last council meeting, and they said All they have to do is walk across to Union City, go to Secaucus, go to Kearney, go anywhere in the state of New Jersey and buy this. If something like this is going to happen, it should be a statewide thing. It's foolish we're doing it, and all we're doing is sending people from downtown to go over to Newark or North Bergen or Union City to get the same thing. And, you know, I think it's ridiculous.
Okay, let me get the camera on the public, please.
Public.
Good evening, council. Thank you for the opportunity.
On camera, please.
Let me know when.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, thank you again for the opportunity. I wanted to also thank,
Please tell us your name again.
my name is Jihad Zidan.
Well, you're going to have to spell that for me.
Short, Jehad, like dog. Zidan, Z as in zebra, EIDAN. I'm also on the list for speaking.
So you'll be speaking just the once.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak later.
Thank you.
Anyway, I just wanted to thank the council members that were on the conference call earlier. I was on there as well with Ridley, Robinson, and Waterman, I believe. Also, Solomon, thank you again for taking a call with us last week. I just want to reiterate some of the things that we talked about for the council members that haven't heard. I know you mentioned that I was up here last month. Thank you, and thank you for your suggestion, because it is pretty much just going to push customers to the next town over. Anyway, so the real issue here, and I take it very seriously, I'm also very passionate about it. I have children, and I think that it is an issue in our country that the youth is getting their hands on these electronic cigarettes. And I believe that the way to combat this is not with a flavor ban, rather with enforcing the laws that are already in place to prevent the youth from getting their hands on it, but making them more stringent, making higher fines for anyone who is caught selling to minors. Also removing them from the internet, which is a very easy place for anyone to get their hands on it. They can just lie about their age and use their parents' credit card. Another major issue, I think it's a hole in our system, is the convenience stores, gas stations, and bodegas. They don't really have much oversight. If we take the electronic cigarettes out of those places and allow only licensed vapor shops to sell these things, you can have more of a stronghold on the business owners that are actually distributing these products. I wanted to also mention that a flavor ban in Jersey City would decimate every vape shop and all the other businesses that are in the supply chain. Distributors, manufacturers, there are some that are located in Jersey City, and you would essentially be putting all of these companies out of business and also eliminating the jobs for their employees, tax revenue that we generate for the city and for the state. Another mention I wanted to say was I myself, as a vape shop owner and a member of the advocacy group, New Jersey Vapor Retailers Coalition, we are working very closely with the state and federal officials for sensible regulation that's going to help fix this problem that we have and help keep the products accessible for adults and help keep the businesses in business. That's it. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, one more thing. If you must vote this pass, please, I just ask that you lengthen the, hang on one second, it's...
Sunrise provision.
So if you decide to move forward, we ask that for a longer implementation period, similar to how you did for the earned paid sick leave legislation. And the reason for this is because, as I said earlier, the state is actually in the works of passing regulation for the e-cig industry, and we predict, or we anticipate, that they will, I think they were going to pass it during the lame duck portion. Sorry, some of this terminology, it's new to me. But the lame duck portion, which is I think in January, that's when we're anticipating that they're going to pass this, these regulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to be heard? Jean Daly?
I'm a
Normally, I would not agree with someone on this, so I'm kind of mixed. I do know that the state is already working on a law. They've actually been working on it since a year ago, to actually ban vaping. And there's discussion about whether it's flavored vapes, who knows what they are. But I do know that in Jersey City, you have to be a registered person. I don't know if it's in New Jersey, but I know in Jersey City, you have to be a registered business owner in order to sell those. So I do agree with what the gentleman said, that going around to the other stores, if you are not licensed to sell this material, you should be fined. Those people should definitely be put out of business. I agree with that. I do understand that we're doing this for the sake of our teens. And I know that specifically in the ordinance itself, it did state about the preservation of our teens, which I think is extremely important, specifically about the health aspect. And I know someone's going to yell at me soon for not addressing the ordinance, but it does have something to do with the ordinance. Oh, you're going to yell at me. I'm sorry. The one thing I would, okay, I'll do it quick. The one thing that I think also, when we're thinking about our teens and the health of our teens, is that despair affects the health of our teens. Frustration, the anger in this city has to do with the health of our teens. And as far as the health of our teens, I see that marijuana smoking everywhere. I don't really see a lot of vaping.
Circle
Go ahead.
right
I guess
back
I'm
because
getting
there's a
okay.
million
Okay,
things.
that's okay. No worries. But getting back to this gentleman's point, I do believe the laws are in place. I wish we would enforce them. That's for sure. And I would actually prefer that the state come up with their rules and regulations first. I know it was started in 2018. It was pushed forward literally a month ago, has moved forward in the state legislation. They're examining it. Again, I don't want to put the horse before the cart, but I do agree it's something that I wish the state would look at first, because I know it's in the process of doing so. But again, to that gentleman's point, since it is on the state books, that we should follow the law, bust everybody else who's selling these things except for the vape shops. And also, if it's to be implemented, we need to give these shop owners time to rebrand themselves. So they give them 6 months or whatever it may be, just so they can rebrand and decide what the heck they're going to do. I just think that's the least amount of courtesy one could give a shop owner, especially if that is kind of their sole business, to reconfigure themselves and figure out how they're going to sell their business.
Thank you, Jean.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to
One
be heard?
also, I just want to say that when the city did their plastic ban, they didn't wait for the state, they just did it. And now Secaucus is going to do it. You know, I mean, I'll be very honest, I don't like the plastic ban, but I live with it. And I think that these are growing lungs. I taught kids. I like to see you pass it because children should not have to wait about having a lung transplant. I mean, some students, unfortunately, are very stupid. Their parents are vaping, you know, whatnot. But, you know, you don't need the state. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it. You did it with everything else. Thank you.
Motion.
It's more.
When I work with youth in this city. I ride around this city. Go up there by Dickinson High School, go up there by Snyder High School, go down there by McNair High School, go by these schools and see what our babies are doing. They smoking this stuff. You talk about weed. Weed ain't got to do with this stuff that's killing their lungs. Come on, y'all. Let's get on board. This is a disgrace. But you sit here and hear when we ride down here and see what these kids are smoking. Come on, let's get on. It's about extending something. I'm with you. They abandoned the plastic bags, they banned this stuff. If you deal with youth like I do in this city, and ride around this city at lunch hour and after school and see what these kids are smoking and where they're getting it from. It's not about a dollar bill, it's about a life. Come on now, what is this about money? Oh my God. Woo.
This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to be heard? Sir, step up.
Hi, my name is Yoku Krenzel. I'm also listed on
Whoa,
the
whoa, whoa.
public hearing.
Your name?
Yoku Krenzel. I'm also listed on the public hearing.
I see you, Y-O-K-U, C-R-E-N-T-S-I-L?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
So, only speaking once. So again, my name is Yoku Krenzel. I actually work for Partners in Prevention. I am particularly, sure. Okay. My name is Yoku Krenzel. I work for Partners in Prevention, particularly as a coalition coordinator in the Hudson County Coalition for a Drug-Free Community. I also serve as a youth coordinator for the new county group named Incorruptible Us, which focuses on gathering youth to take action against tobacco marketing and tobacco companies influencing their use on tobacco products. Particularly, I want to highlight the fact that, as was mentioned, these products are not only found in vape shops, but all around in bodegas and corner stores and gas stations. So the benefit of actually introducing this flavor ban will show great influence on the youth who actually do find these products in unregulated areas. When I say unregulated, I mean locations that are not commonly maintaining whether or not certain people under the age of 21 are getting these products. Next, I want to highlight the fact that many of the students who I speak with directly, because I coordinate these groups throughout the county, they share directly the fact that there's a rising use, and any statistic that's already given right now, as we know, there's a current 25% of America's youth who have used or are still using any of these tobacco products. And what we are finding specifically is that there's still a growing number. Knowing that there are 5 million youth in our country using these products is an issue. If these products are not being regulated, if these products are not being displayed or even FDA regulated as a cessation product, it is not to the benefit of the community yet, until the community is given that notion that they are regulated as cessation products. And to consider the fact that there are adults who are seeking to stop smoking using these products, I can understand their need to refrain from using any conventional cigarettes and also the benefit that they may be finding from using these new e-cigarettes. However, what we're finding, the serious issue is that more and more cases are rising in this lung-related e-cigarette vape use. So, if we were to ban, and if you did take the step to ban any flavored e-cigarettes, not only will you be helping youth, but also ensuring that any adults who are seeking cessation can not only find a way through speaking directly to their doctors, but then also using FDA-regulated cessation products. Lastly, just to highlight specifically the fact that I'm also a recent college grad, this is not only affecting high school students, not only affecting middle school students, it's penetrating every one of the college students that I see. My own close friends are using these products and essentially started because of flavored products. And I'm speaking directly to the fact that anyone who is under the age of 21 going to college has the freedom to choose what they want to use and how they want to live their life. Working in prevention, the point of prevention is about building a tobacco-free, drug-free lifestyle. In order to push that lifestyle, we have to cultivate an environment that doesn't essentially influence them to use products that can harm them. So I do ask that you consider this ban and actually do set an example for the neighboring towns and for the state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing, anyone else? Ladies first, generally, but.
My name is Michael Turkelson. Do you need me to spell it?
Michael, I can spell, give me a second, Turkelson?
Yeah, T-E-R-K-I-L-D.
Wait, D?
T as in Tom.
T-E-R-K.
Yes, I-L-D.
I-L-D.
S-E-N.
Turkelson.
Turkelson, Norwegian. So I'd like to urge all of you to vote no against banning vapor products. I want to let you guys know I was an addict from the time I was 16 up until I was 25 on opiates. We all know opiates are a major problem in our state here. I tried many things to get away from it. I went to doctors, I took medications and all that. The only thing that was able to actually get me away from taking heroin and taking opiates and stuff like that was vaping products. I got into it first as a consumer, started getting into it more as a hobby, and then developed a business from it. 5 years ago today, I was on the street and I was literally taking heroin, and today I have a business that I'm able to succeed and give back to the government and pay taxes and all that, and it's been able to save me from my past of being addicted to opiates when nothing else helped me. I tried many sensations to get away from smoking cigarettes. I tried patches when I was in the hospital for surgeries, and they gave me terrible nightmares. Chantix is known to cause suicide in people, so it's not something I'm willing to try and take for myself. I've been vaping nicotine products now for the last 5 years of my life, and I felt healthier than I have in my entire life. I urge you to vote no against this and banning these products here in your city. It does not directly affect me. I'm from Monmouth County down south, and I drove all the way up here to let you guys know this. It's going to be hurting and taking away the rights from many adult smokers who are able to use this to stay away from smoking and be there for their children. The kids that are getting their hands on these products now, it's got to do with people not enforcing the laws that are already in place. They're buying them from convenience stores and gas stations the same way that I did. I used to ride up on my bicycle and they would serve me anyway. They would just double charge me and pocket the extra. No different is happening in your cities up here, so I urge you, do not ban these products and do not take away the right from all the adults that use these to stay around for their families. Thank you.
This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to be heard?
Good evening. My name is Elise McGockran.
Elizabeth?
Elise, Elise.
Elise, got it.
I'll spell my last name too.
What is your last name?
McGockran, McGaughran. And I'm the Northern Regional Coordinator for Tobacco Free for a Healthy New Jersey, which is a project of the New Jersey Department of Health. And I wanted to highlight the work that we've been doing in Jersey City in collaboration with the Jersey City Health Department. So Jersey City has about 400 plus stores that held tobacco licenses. And many of them are concentrated near schools, like a quarter mile from a school. So that means a lot of exposure for young people walking by the stores and access to stores. In 2017, with the help of the registered environmental health specialists, we did 300 plus, it was about 130 stores that we did. We call them audits, but it was an environmental scan looking at the kinds of products that were in the stores. And certainly there were many of these products that we're talking about. In addition, we have a program called STOMP, Stop Tobacco Offenses Merchant Program. And again, our registered environmental health specialists in Jersey City have gone out to stores that when they make their visit, and they bring this education to the stores, the store owners, because it's on a store owner to not sell underage. It's not on the youth. We don't have the same pup laws, possession laws as something like alcohol, for example. So I just wanted you to be aware of that. When you heard Yoku talk about colleges, we're working with St. Peter's University, bringing cessation. This isn't just a problem for our middle schools and high schools. It is carrying up into the college years. And, I was really happy to hear that our last speaker was talking about addiction, because we don't often, when we talk about addiction, we go to opioids and maybe cocaine and other substances, and we don't think about nicotine. But these products are hooking kids, young kids, the flavored products, just like menthol, combustible cigarettes, hook people. They make it harder to quit, they make it easier to inhale, and then you become addicted to nicotine. And most of us in this room probably know somebody who's been smoking for 50 years and can't quit because it affects the brain. So you have an opportunity tonight to make a stand and keep these products out of the hands of youth and to have a whole new generation addicted to nicotine. So I thank you for the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to be heard? Motion?
Okay, we have a motion by the council president. Second was Councilperson Ridley. Let me get the camera on the council, please. Love the extra steps here. Okay, council members, to close the public hearing, Councilperson Ridley. Prinzary.
Aye.
Fagiano.
Aye.
Yun.
Aye.
Solomon. Robinson. Rivera.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
And President.
We're closing, right?
Closing the public hearing.
Yeah, we're gonna,
You know,
This is
Wait.
close the public hearing.
all right, it's closed.
okay, before we commence, let me just, maybe the sponsors of the bill would like to say something before, and then Richie, you're happy to, anyone to come make comments, but any of the bill sponsors want to say anything before?
Yeah.
Jermaine, I know Jermaine don't feel that well.
What do you want to do?
Are you alive?
You okay?
What is it?
All right.
Did you want to say anything?
No, because it.
Let's get the
echo,
vote to
so
close first
We
before
have a
we...
bad echo, so we cannot even communicate.
What was that, Robert?
Yes, sir.
I thought we just closed.
I thought we
We
just did.
closed, yeah, we did.
All right, we've closed the public hearing 9-0. I didn't hear your vote, Councilman.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're opening it up for discussion, please do
Yep.
so.
Yeah, I think we should pull this, create a resolution asking the state to come up with some solution. I used to live on Hague Street, which is 1 block from the Union City border. If I was using this product and I still wanted to use it, I'd walk 1 block up into Union City and get the product from them. I mean, it's ridiculous. And the kids, you know, they say, somebody mentioned Dickinson High School, they hang around Dickinson High School. Where are the principal? Where are the teachers? They should come out and correct this situation. And they should be teaching them in the schools not to use these products if they're dangerous. But this should be pulled, make a resolution to the state of New Jersey and let them solve this problem.
Anybody else have something to say? Go ahead, Dan.
Councilman Rivera.
Someone else want to be heard?
I'd like to share a couple of comments. So I started this about 2 years ago to try to, we was working with the health department, Health and Human Services, because we saw the ugly that was happening, and we saw the trajectory that this was targeting. And one of the concerns that we had was that back then, one of the concerns we had back then is that we didn't have anybody to enforce it. And we had a lot of concerns about that. We spent almost 8 months trying to figure out, you know, what department, the health department or what task force was going to actually going to enforce this situation. I was extremely happy when I saw that my council colleagues, you know, decided to bring this back to light. And I know that they've been working, you know, together with the Health and Human Services so that they can engage together with them to activate a task force to get this going. I'm behind you on this, you know, and I hope that this works out good.
Anybody else? Okay, I just wanted to know, can we amend it, the sunrise provision? Now, the reason why.
So offer an amendment, councilperson.
Right. The reason why, because we are conscious of the small business though. And I know, just by this alone, so many states done banned it, and I know they did feel the effects financially. And we are for small business. So I just would like that window, so if they need to adjust, they have that window to adjust. That's all.
What
Because this is
amendment are you
important for our
proposing
kids.
to make the sunrise, make?
To that end, I know you suggested 90 days, I'd ask for 180 days, 6-month period, for folks to be able to implement, and if this should be.
We're December 4 now. So do you want to pick a date certain?
I mean, I'm good with 90, but
So actually, 180 days must make sense than 90 days. If you want to try the sunset.
I would say June 3rd would be,
180 days.
pardon me.
because you're thinking about the small business guy, and I know, once we do this, there will have to be an adjustment period for them. It would have to.
And 90 days would take us to around March, I'm assuming.
90 days would be March 3rd, 180 days would be May 31st.
Sorry? 180 days when?
May 31st.
May 31st. Sounds great.
180 days is May 31st.
Yeah. 180 days, yeah. We give you enough time to adjust it, makes sense.
If the state is looking to do something soon and hopefully in January, I think 90 days is sufficient.
Every state statute trumps an ordinance.
I mean, just relying on the state to do something is a gamble. Like,
It is a gamble.
It's rolling the dice. So I think we should, I mean, personally, I think you should just presume if it's enacted, if it's passed by this body, then we should just assume that it's rolling out for whatever period it's rolling out for, whether that's 3 months or 6 months. Just listening to business owners, I think giving them that 6-month window if we're going to enact this will allow them to wind down, I guess, in these flavored vaping products.
Can I say?
Yeah.
The first things, when they talk about the flavored tobacco, maybe some smells for certain person, maybe coconut smells, but based on depends on person, maybe that smells like a cherry. I mean, when I read this one, it doesn't make any sense at all, actually. And the background as a small business person, actually, we banned the sell, the business takeaway from the Jersey City small business community, but at the end of the day, we give to business for online stores. And the Councilman Richie Bojana say that if we ban sell over here, people go Union City, North Spokane, Hoboken, any place they can get it. But the fact is that 2,290 people so far have some lung disease relative to e-tobaccos, flavored tobaccos. It's from 49 states. And 47 people actually dead by the disease. We know that it's almost impossible to enforce. But end of day, we have to be the step up. We gotta tell them this city have a care about public health issue and our children. That we know that enforcement is not easy, but it's like a symbol to send a message to state. They should be to statewide to take some action. And Councilman Joyce Waterman say that we don't want to hurt the small business community, so we give them enough time to they take care of their inventory, what they have, so they can find us some other way to recover their lost of business. But doesn't make any sense to ordinance itself, but we care about our young children, not only just the people who have not damaged by, they make sure protect the people damaged by that flavored tobacco. So that's what we're looking for, So with a condition with 180 days sunset clause, can we do that? Can we add it to?
We can do whatever the council is.
We can do whatever, but I think the
Whatever you
sponsors-
agree on, you can.
Yes, the sponsors would prefer 90 days.
And then 90 days from today would be March 3rd.
Right, because they are, based on what I heard from the audience, they believe that the state is going to do something. So with that in mind, we will stick with the 90 days and we will roll it out. So whether the state does anything or not, we will be in place to do what we need to do.
So why, then?
No, because that's, they waiting on us. They say January to
Yeah,
state.
but the state to do January, they have no actually firm promise. So
Look, I know, but
So, yes, 180 days, if the state takes some action, we can, enough time to give the people in the business, so I don't know why, but it's okay, that doesn't matter to me. But as long as this is a symbol of that, the city of Jersey, city council, and the mayor's office or this administration care about that the peoples to protect from any flavor cigarettes.
Let's move forward. So can we get a motion to amend?
I have a motion by Councilperson Waterman to amend, and that is...
Second.
That's for a 90-day window, correct?
Yes. Correct.
This is to amend to make the effective date 90 days. On the motion, and you said that that date was Corporation Council, March 3rd?
March 3rd, 2020.
On the motion, Councilperson Ridley?
Aye. This is on the amendment, correct?
On the amendment.
Prinzary?
Aye.
Bajano?
Believe this is a state or federal issue? No.
Yun?
I like to have 180 days, but 90 days is at this point is acceptable. I vote for aye.
Solomon?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Rivera?
Aye.
Waterman?
Aye.
Lavaro?
We have to protect.
I also would prefer 180 days, but I'll vote aye.
Give me a moment, council members. Okay, for final adoption as amended, this ordinance, the amendment was approved 9-0, and the amendment was to make this ordinance effective 90 days from the date of adoption, which is, by the calculations of the Corporation Council, March 3 in the year 2020. This is for a vote in its final form as amended. Councilperson Ridley.
I'll try to be brief. I agree with what Councilman Borgiano was saying, that people can go over to the next city. But I believe that hopefully it is, one, a little more difficult for a middle schooler or a high schooler to travel back and forth consistently through cities, and it's easier for an adult who feels that they have a need for the product to go into Bayonne or to go into the next city to get what they need. And at the end of the day, I'm not responsible for Union City or Bayonne or these other cities. I'm responsible for Jersey City. So what they do is up to them. There are a lot of states so far that have banned. I believe maybe about 7 states have bans and certain bans in place now. Montana, Oregon, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. There's a ban in San Francisco. And we know that New Jersey is working on those rules, and in our conference call earlier, we agreed to reach out to our state officials to see exactly where they are on what they're proposing. And we also know that just last week, New York City introduced their ban. So when we started this, we knew it was an issue, but I didn't realize how big of an issue it was, and we were getting a big push from Jersey City Public Schools and parents, and when we put out this press release that we were going to move forward with trying to do this ban, I received a lot of messages from teachers, and I even received some messages from parents who've had kids who have had collapsed lungs, et cetera, from vaping. So it is a big issue that we have to tackle and figure out what to do. And we're hoping that by banning these flavors, it will reduce some of the appeal and reduce some of the access to the younger kids. And I feel like we have a responsibility to protect our kids in this city. We also have a responsibility to help our small businesses grow. And I think by adding the provision for the sunshine, that we are also taking that time to recognize that people are making a living off of this vaping, and that we're still willing to allow them to do that and to get prepared and to hopefully continue their conversations with the state and continue their conversations with us. So with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
So the reports that continue to come out around e-cigarettes and vaping tend to get worse, and they're not getting any better. As somebody who remembers in high school, many of my friends started smoking with menthol cigarettes because it tasted better. And having something, while it may not necessarily mean to be targeted to our young people, that is who are gravitated toward and who it is appealed to. I've had a number of friends and family die of lung cancer, starting with a friend of mine in his 20s. And I understand that smoking cessation methods are not one size fits all, and everybody needs a different way to do it. But as an adult, you're in a much better place to figure out what's right for you. Right now, we're looking at the health and safety of our young children, and while we can wait for the state, I just think that if we have an opportunity to do something now, we should. And with that, I understand that it's going to be difficult for some of our small businesses. I think that a sunrise window for this is the right thing to do, which gives people some space to figure out what's going to happen at the state. And with that, I vote aye.
Councilman Bargiano.
I think this is just another ordinance that is useless and unenforceable in New Jersey, just like the noise ordinance. I vote no. It's up to the state, not the city of Jersey City.
Councilperson Yun.
Well, Councilman Richie Bojana say he's right. But when anybody if you read that this ordinance, sounds like we are stupid. But sometimes we act like a stupid act to show the people we care. So this is one of the ordinance. Sounds like a stupid, but we're gonna show that we care. So I'm gonna vote for aye.
Somewhere there was a compliment in there.
Yeah, but that's what it is, nothing more than that.
Councilman Solomon.
Very, very briefly, I think local action can sometimes spur state action. So it's important to push and have people feel pressure. And I've heard some of the arguments that some of the folks who spoke made. And, I respect the points and hope that in 90 days, there has to be action either at the state level or coming back here with a local version that addresses the problems of, youth becoming addicted to nicotine. And so if there's a better way to stop youth becoming addicted to nicotine than this, proposed flavor ban, I think everyone at this council is open to hearing that. So I'm going to vote aye for now. We have 90 days to work on either a local or a state solution that's better for the folks out there who, wanted us to vote no. So with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Robinson.
Hello. Yeah. I'm not feeling too great today, but I knew it was really important to finish what we started to, come in and cast my vote on banning these flavor cigarettes, flavor vape. I got the chance to spend the Thanksgiving holiday in Florida with my uncle that's recovering from lung cancer, and and I just, just thinking about our youth, I think is really important for us to be ahead of the other cities around. I think they will all follow suit. We were the first to go out and ban plastic bags, and now Bayonne is starting in January. And there's some more cities around that, people mentioned earlier that are also banning plastic bags. I just believe that our kids are the future of not just, Jersey City, but the world. And, anything that we can do to help them live a long, healthy life. I think it's very important for us to do that. As a small business owner myself, you never want to hurt businesses. I mean, they're the lifeline of the city, the state, and the country. But, you know, on one hand, if you have, you know, business, and on the other hand, you have the kids, I'm going to choose the kids every time. And this is just the step in the right direction. I know the councilman said it's stupid, but I truly don't believe that it's stupid, that what we're doing to, you know, show the youth that we really care about them and their future. I vote aye.
Councilperson Waterman?
Oh,
Excuse me,
Rivera.
Councilperson
Yeah,
Rivera? This camera is driving me nuts. Councilman Rivera?
So I'm going to be, you know, brief, but I have to also say this. I mean, I don't know. I think that by us, and I think we've already passed. I think by us, you know, taking the step in the right direction and passing something like this, I think that we are going to be an example to the other cities in the county, and I think they're going to follow our lead, and it's going to be that much more difficult to buy these products throughout. And I think that one thing that we need to do is that we need to impose on our state officials and tell them that this is what we want, and we don't want to wait, you know, a couple of months. We want this now, and we want a decision as soon as possible. And I think that, you know, with the census showing that we're probably the biggest city in the state right now, I think that it will definitely make an impact, and that message will be heard. So again, I just want to say good job to my council colleagues for doing this, and I definitely vote aye.
Councilperson Waterman?
I vote aye.
President?
So if you'll bear with me, I just have a few points I'd like to make. The first point is, I used to be a smoker, right? For a long time, addicted. And so up until a couple of years ago, I finally kicked it, but after multiple attempts over time, and I'll tell you to this day, I smoked half a pack a day on the regular for daily menthol cigarettes. Marlboro menthol was my pack, and that's what I smoked all the time. And to this day, I'll tell people that if I knew I wasn't going to get back on it, I loved smoking. So that's just the truth, right? So you get addicted to this stuff, and you still enjoy it. And I will never, ever, like, condemn or be judgmental of people who are smoking or addicted to those sort of any sort of substances. In that regard, it's a tough habit to kick. That being said, several years ago, as a smoker, I introduced the legislation in Jersey City to ban smoking in the parks.
Right.
So the rationale being at that time was that secondhand smoke was harmful, and even though I was a smoker, I didn't want my child or my grandmother or other members of the community, family, being exposed to secondhand smoke, and there was plenty of medical evidence and out there, scientific evidence to suggest that secondhand smoke hurts and harms people, kills people. So we went forward with banning smoking in the parks. I was asked at that time by advocates to also include vaping as part of that, and I resisted that, and I said no. And as much as at that time there wasn't the growing evidence and information that was out there about that, about the potential impact and harm of vaping in that sense. And so I said, I know people who quit smoking using vaping and so forth. So I'm not gonna put that ban on someone not knowing that that's really harmful to other folks at this point. And so we didn't do that ban on vaping in the parks here in Jersey City. And then after that, Councilman Rivera pointed out that there was talk of putting in sort of a vaping tax that would be put on retailers to be able to tax the sale and distribution of it. that we could use that money, to collect that money, to be able to use it towards enforcement purposes. And I wonder then, if we had passed that, maybe we'd be in a different situation, because we'd have some enforcement mechanisms in place to be able to do that. Look, this is a really, really tough issue for me. It's a personal issue in many ways. I don't vape, but like I get it on this. So the impact on the businesses, just overnight, we're literally, I mean, we're going to give a 90-day window here, but it's folks. I know people who own vaping shops and things of that nature who they're going to be devastated by this. And yet, in the face of all of that, we know that there is mounting evidence and data, as my colleagues pointed out, of youth usage rates in this, and the harmful effects on young lungs and adult lungs too, as well, in this. And so there's growing evidence of that increasing. I will admittedly not say I don't know all of the information. I haven't done the research there. I was glad to see, for those who don't know, I'm also the chairman of the Municipal Alliance, a Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition here in Jersey City. So I was glad to see some of my colleagues here in Partners in Prevention here to speak out. And I'll tell you, sir, it was I was on the fence here, because I tell you, on the fence. But I figure I'm in good company if I'm with my friends in Partners in Prevention and my friends in the Municipal Alliance, because we're working hard to try to prevent substance abuse and use among our youth. So with that being said, despite my deep concerns about this and the impact it's going to have on our businesses, to protect our youth and to just to protect our youth, I'm going to vote yes.
The ayes have it, 9-0, so this ordinance is adopted as amended.
No.
1.
8-1.
Rich voted again.
I'm sorry, 8-1. I have it recorded correctly. There was such momentum. 8-1, Councilman Bajano voting nay. Going on to our last second reading ordinance. 4.5, an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City supplementing Chapter 3, Administration of Government, creating a census committee to increase community awareness and participation in the forthcoming census and in all decennial censuses thereafter. This is a public hearing on the ordinance.
Yeah, Yvonne Balser, this is actually a very good idea. And one of the things I will suggest is the big issue for me for living in downtown or Journal Square or any part of the city, really, the Heights, Greenville, is the fact that there's a big problem with cars versus bikes. So when we're going around there, and since the city is going to have their own census committee, why don't they, add every household? Do you have a car or do you have a bike? Because this is a real issue that my tax dollar is going for all these bike lanes. So I don't see why, the city can't have employees go with the census take. I realize one is government, U.S. government, the other one is the city. But I think that should be something very important to the city, that we should be adding this to that. And I happen to know when they do ask this, that in some parts of the city, people in the other, like Greenville or the Heights, they may be 2 cars in a family. So I think that this is something that the city should consider, because we're losing parking, in the city. So I would like to, since we're going to be doing a census, counting people, let's also count the cars and the bikes. So, hey, this is something that the mayor has made as an issue, and I'm hoping that the information that's being gathered, whether or not it is, you have the different groups here that the mayor has down here, I hope that's made available to the public, like how many immigrants, all that. I hope all of that is made available to the public in that kind of secretive way. Because the last census, I really had to go to the public library and look up the information and do some research of my own. And you should be able to have it available. It should be on the city's website when it's done. We shouldn't have to go look for it.
Should be.
Gotten the census information for me when I did the ward boundaries count.
Thank you very much.
Good suggestion. Thank you, Yvonne. This is a public hearing. Any members of the public wishing to be heard?
Hello, this is Jean Daly. The question I have is that this census committee, is it going to be a group of people from the council? I'm curious about, who is going to be made up of that committee, is it going to be a volunteer, or are we paying this committee? If so, how much are we paying them? What is a job description? What are the qualifications? And will there be any type of hiring protocol?
These would be all volunteer. There are no paid employees on the boards or agencies of the city of Jersey City.
There'll be city-paid employees on the committee itself.
Well, it says create a census committee.
Yeah.
But is that a new, if we're going to create a census committee, is it within people's who are already work for Jersey City? Or is going to be created a group of people who may not work for Jersey City, who will therefore become... I just was just trying to figure out if it's a purely volunteer or salaries are going to be paid.
Volunteers.
Okay, no worries.
Volunteers.
Okay,
And
perfect.
there are city staffers
Okay,
who may work in the mayor's office or other departments who will be part of the committee. Obviously, they're doing it on their paid time as a
Sure.
staffer. In that sense.
All right, no worries.
So in that sense, okay. Is it a public hearing? Any members of the public wishing to be heard?
Motion.
Second.
Hold on one second, council members.
Okay, let's get on with the show.
Council members, can I indulge you? Deja, can I ask if you can just share a few words with us about where we're going here?
Should we close the public hearing first?
Yeah, after the close, but I just want to get her up here. We're just going to close the public hearing and then,
I just want the record to reflect that Councilman Baggiano voted nay to amend the tobacco ordinance. I don't know if I articulated that carefully enough. It was an 8-1 vote on the amendment, also an 8-1 vote on the adoption. So we're now to the point where, would someone kindly repeat who?
Closing the
Here
public
to
hearing.
Speak on it, please.
Right, no, Robert, Ms. Anderson represents the administration. We want to close the public
we'll
hearing.
close the public hearing first, and then Ms.
Got
Anderson
you.
is gonna address
All right, motion, please make the motion again.
Motion.
Okay, we have a councilperson Yun.
it. Councilman Rivera, seconded by Mayor Prinzeri.
Who's that?
Robert, you said right. I vote for aye.
Was it you, Danny?
Yes, it was Danny. Councilman
Wow.
Rivera.
Ears are getting old, too. We have a motion by Councilperson Rivera. Who made the second?
Prinzeri.
Prinzeri. To close the public hearing, Councilperson Ridley. Aye. Prinzeri. Baggiano. Aye. Yun.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
He
Robinson.
left.
He left.
Absent.
He's not well.
Rivera.
Aye.
Waterman.
Aye.
President.
Aye.
That's to close. Okay, please identify yourself for the record, please.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Deja, that's D-E-J-A Anderson. So in reference to the census, we're up here for the Complete Count Committee. The Complete Count Committee is composed of a broad spectrum of government and community leaders from the education, business, healthcare, and other communities here in Jersey City. These trusted voices are going to work together to develop and implement the 2020 awareness campaign for the census here in Jersey City. These, what I would like to call community influencers, are going to help create this localized messaging for our city to ensure that we are reaching out to everyone, especially the hard-to-count populations that we have here in our city. So the goals of the Complete Count Committee are to act as champion for the 2020 census by motivating the community to self-respond, educating the public about the importance of the census to our local community, informing the community about census activities and timelines, involving the community in those activities that build awareness, and to increase our response rate. Right now, the constitution of that committee are going to be the council members, the mayor, the director of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, the members of the Immigrant Affairs Commission, and various other community members that are going to represent all different communities that we have here in the city. The Complete Count Committee is one group that's going to meet once a month, so we can share our ideas, the activities, and keep each other posted on what we're doing to ensure that in Jersey City, we have a complete count and everyone participates and that all communities are accurately represented.
So Deja, to that end, Deja and I met earlier today. Thank you so much. The council members know I had grave concerns going into this vote, but Deja reassured me on a lot of, on many levels here. And I like where you're going with this and what you shared there. And while you expressed to me there would be a commitment to amend this and ultimately change the, I mean, the composition you just talked about is not reflective of what's in the ordinance.
That is correct.
Right? And then we would amend that and revise it accordingly to reflect that.
And I would like to make that public commitment from us that we are going to make that amendment to the constitution of the Complete Count Committee. This is one group, but due to the fact that in the last census, Jersey City had such a low response rate, we really want to increase the composition of our Complete Count Committee to ensure that we have the entire city and community buy-in and participation in this event. So in breaking down the additional subcommittees and other groups, we've defined a lot of those avenues through identifying the hard-to-count communities, be that children under the age of 5, our senior populations, veterans, each and every different ethnic group, immigrants, people that don't speak English, people that live in high-rises. I mean, if you think about a category that a citizen could hold here in Jersey City, it's likely a hard-to-count population, and we need to specifically reach out to them and inform them about what the census is, how it impacts our legal representation, our federal funding for grants. It's incredibly important, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you of getting that message out to our residents.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that in the 2019, our budget, when we allocate the dollars, we actually, this city council allocated $100,000 for census, you know, the committee, not the committee, I mean, the effort for locate 100. To make sure that they spend $100,000 wisely, you know, to not only that, you know, that actually census is going to 2020, so when we talk about 2020 budget, to make sure that business administration, we put some dollars to funding, the committee able to, not just name the committee, they're able to provide a service to maximize the count in the city of Jersey City. You know, that's very important because even though we spend some dollars, and when you get the more grant from the state and the federal, it's worth to invest the money. So I never expect to allocate dollars. It's not just spending. It's more like investment for future of Jersey City. So please keep the good work.
Thank you.
Council members, any other questions?
This is a question more actually for Robert and law. I know that Ms. Anderson is committed to future amendments, but I just wanted to make sure that the version we're voting on tonight included the amendment from the first meeting of the advice and consent. Okay.
Nick took care of that today. We made sure we had the version that was introduced by the council. That iteration should be there, that the committee members are appointed with the advice and consent of the council.
Great. Thank you, Deja.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks for Tracy getting the transcript here on time. We got all of that verbiage in. Commercial for Tracy. Okay, council members, are we voting for the final adoption of this ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, Councilperson Ridley? Renzeri.
Aye.
Fagiano. Yun.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Rivera. Waterman.
Aye.
President.
Aye.
We have an 8-0 vote with Councilman Robinson absent for the final adoption of this ordinance. So we are now, council members, to the public request for hearing.
Robert, before I go, I didn't realize that was the final vote. Can I just say thank you to Deja, Keith, thank you both for, and Deja for reaching out and being very proactive about it. And she literally hunted me down today, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, council members, the first speaker this evening, I think, bailed out on this. Shamoon Ramroop.
Not here.
Gene Daly, you didn't even call in this time, and we put you on.
You're the best.
No, I don't think so. Please begin.
I don't know if anyone had seen, I'm actually speaking to a couple things, well, maybe just one, about the snow removal and the protected bike lanes. I don't know if anyone received this announcement from the city of Jersey City, but they stated that please don't park next to protected bike lanes if snow is in the forecast. If your car is parked next to a protected bike lane and it snows, it will be towed. I don't know if anyone has read that. It was actually retweeted by Mr. Hudnut, who's our prosecutor, municipal prosecutor. And the point being is, we don't have any laws in Jersey City regarding that, which makes, which to me is of great concern. We have to have laws regarding this before you can actually try to enforce something, because as of now, one, human beings cannot predict the weather. The weathermen and ladies have yet to master that practice. Excuse me? Oh, it was pulled?
Yes, it was pulled yesterday, it wasn't enforced.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, if it's going to be there, will something like this come up again? This type of statement? Because if it does come up again, there's just no way to enforce it. Because we don't have laws in the books, which also brings back, therefore, to cleaning the bike lanes during the snow. I don't know if much was put into that when the bike lanes were approved. I know other states have put in temporary bike lanes when they were in the process, like we are or were, which allowed them to see it on the ground, because sometimes theory and reality can be different in these situations. And so therefore, they were able to tweak their bike lanes before deciding on a set pattern, which we did not do, unfortunately, because therefore, now they're having problems figuring out how to clean the bike lanes, what to do with snow removal, and that sort. There are some places that have retroactively kind of removed, which we're not going to do, like remove bike lanes for the winter months, but which I know we're not going to do. But that is a bit of concern. How are we going to deal with this snow cleaning? Because one, we don't have a snow melt facility. We just can't take snow and drive it with a big Caterpillar or something up to a snow melt facility and have it melt. Things are going to just be dumped on the corner. So maybe those who are involved with the bike plan would be able to do, maybe look into that a little bit more, because again, theory and reality are two different things, and we all know that. And also, I think less resistance from what I've read of about the states or towns that put in the temporary bike lanes and then tweak them as they were put into practice, found very little resistance from the drivers because they felt that they were involved. And sometimes I wish that our city council or this administration would be more flexible with the input. I know we have meetings, et cetera, but in the end, whatever the administration wants, it gets, and it enforces it upon the population without even really investigating the trial, if it's going to work or not. Another thing, I know we're talking about, and I understand with the vaping, just to clarify one thing, I do know, because I've done a lot of research on this, that the deaths regarding the vaping had to do with the inhalation of vitamin E acetate, which is found in the vaping things that have THC in them. So those are the illegal ones that they get somewhere, except in states that do allow legal cannabis. Because of it's an oil, the cannabis has to be used in vitamin E acetate. Regular vaping materials don't have vitamin E acetate. So yes, I'm very concerned about our teenagers. I'm also very concerned about what more we can do for them. I think their health is very important. They are the future of our city, and we need to think more about the teens' mental health. I think it's very important. I think nourishment, safe housing, lack of violence, and a safe place to call home is very important to our teens, and I appreciate it. Yes, you're turning me off. I got it. Okay, thanks.
I wanted to save us all that sound. Thank you. Sam Gutierrez? Yvonne?
Yvonne Bolser. The last time I was at a council meeting, I asked the business administrator for a copy of the tax liens, the copy of the tax appeals, and how many we have. And I was promised that information. I have not received it. I do see that he's not here right now. And I see that for Resolution 1037, we're adding even more money because we're returning $17,000 to someone that overpaid. It was affordable housing. So I am asking for the total list of taxes that got through appeals that I, as a taxpayer, collectively with everyone else, owe. And it would have been nice if that information was emailed to me, and it wasn't. And I cannot ask again because the person's not here. Very disappointing in that. The second thing I want to ask, and it's probably the business administrator too, is Jersey City, during this time of the year, publish in the newspaper the tax liens, and I have not seen them. Are the liens going to be published in the paper or are going to be online? What's the city's new procedure? Do you know?
They're required to be published by statute in the newspaper.
They have not been in the paper, not been at all. I saw Secaucus. The other towns I saw in the newspaper. In fact, the thing about Secaucus, which is 20% of Jersey City population, they actually had 11 properties. Now, if you take Secaucus and multiply it by Jersey City standard, that would be 55 properties in tax lien, whereas last year we had over 6,000. So I'm just curious as to when will the city publish it? It's normally published early in December. So you know when they're going to have it? Anyone? I mean, it would be nice to have the business administrator here to ask questions from. I mean, there's two questions I really have in which, I'm not getting any information at all. I feel like Michael Young when he asks questions. He get no answers at all. I guess I'm going to have to call him. The third thing I want to say while I have time is that I think it was wrong to change the election for everything to November. The election was really about the school and the question. But besides that, we had an election for county government and we had an election for state government. None of the papers cover those. So by putting everything in November, quote, to save money, You have disenfranchised, in my opinion, the public because the media focus on two things, the school election and the question number one. And everything else just got totally lost. I am really hoping down the road that we can have the school election separate as it was, that we can have the municipal election separate, because there are too many other elections that are not receiving the focus they should, because they are voting on questions that involve public tax dollars and how they feel about it. And there not one newspaper, not one online media source questioned them. And I think that was absolutely wrong. It actually is the worst thing that the Phil administration came up with. And I hope we go back to the way it was in the past. Because a lot of people just, oh, the school board, yeah, because that was in the paper, and question yes or no, and that was it. Some of them didn't even pull the other switches. I asked them. Oh, well, they didn't see it, they said. Well, they were there. It was, you know, it's like a rubber stamp with this city. And I think hopefully this council, when the time is right, I think we have to wait 10 years, that we go back. I think the municipal election is important enough to be separate. Government, the assembly, the state senate, that's important too. So I'm not going to go on with this, but, you know, I'm really hoping that if I don't receive this, when my name's on the list in a couple of weeks, I'd like to know exactly the tax lien and the tax appeals. Thank you very much.
Kurt Johnson. I'd ask anyone on the speakers list to move up. Kurt, please begin.
Hi, I'm Kurt Johnson. I was here a couple weeks ago to speak to you about an outstanding invoice. I really just wanted to, I didn't know how that was going to go. I wanted to thank the council for getting on this agenda. I see that there's a resolution later. I'm here to answer questions, any concerns you might have. So thank you so much for taking action on that. The other thing I wanted to mention is I'm not a Jersey City resident, but I've sat through 2 of these meetings, and I really appreciate everything that you do, even though it might not affect me directly. I could see a tremendous amount of hard work. You folks deal with some really difficult topics and decisions, and as an innocent bystander, I mean, I really do appreciate everything you put towards the city. So again, I'm here to talk later or ask questions, whatever you might need. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
You haven't seen the really tough stuff yet.
Peter Mealy. Monique K. Andrews.
Peter's here.
Okay, I would kindly ask, there's like an on-deck circle, up front, please come forward, Mr. Mealy.
He's right here.
Other people on the speakers list, please migrate towards the front so we know that you're here. And Mr. Mealy.
Hi.
Please begin.
I'm good. Okay. I'm just going to go through this, and then if I have time, I'll elaborate. Okay. Petty stuff. Paying for plastic bags. I go to a store, grocery store. They want to charge me a dime for a plastic bag. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if it's here. If you have anything to do with it, please discontinue it. I have a right to get a bag for my groceries. I don't know what it's all about. I don't know where it's going, who invented it, but it doesn't work. And you know, I think for the money I spend, I'm entitled to a bag for my groceries. The other thing is the impact of bike lanes. Okay, I heard somebody else brought it up before, so I'm just going to read some stuff and then I'll go back. Automobiles provide transportation for all people. Bicycles provide for one person. You want to, and you are giving them substantial portion of our already inadequate roads. No pass. Imbalance. Too much road for no contribution. Cyclists pay nothing. Cyclists are outlaws, notorious. Not all, but a lot. 25 deaths in New York, and not because they were behaving themselves on the road. No license, no registration, no insurance, no rules. When did the cyclists ever get a summons in Jersey City? They do whatever they want. Motorized bikes, delivery guys on the sidewalk, scaring people, running them off. Who rides in the winter? Waste of space. I ride a bike for exercise. I go along the shoreline that's provided for me. I went to Hoboken one day and back, and on the way back, I stopped at a light on Washington Street, and thank you very much for repaving Washington Street. Looks great, but now it's got a bike lane on it. So I stopped for the light, and who comes past me? Two cyclists blow right through the stoplight and almost get hit by a car making a legal green light protected left turn. And then they pounce on the guy's hood, saying all kinds of obscenities up to the guy. Those are bicyclists, notorious outlaws. As a driver, I have the responsibility for cyclists who are lawbreakers, careless cyclists, dangerous, and entitled. Let them ride with the traffic as in most other countries they do. Please discontinue the installation of bicycle lanes immediately and permanently. Put your efforts in redesigning traffic patterns, roads, traffic signals, pedestrian safety zones to accommodate our motor vehicles. Some of the vehicles that we use: automobiles, taxis, trucks, utility vehicles, buses, ambulances, handicapped transportation, special needs, shuttle buses, police, fire department, construction vehicles. Suggestion: free shuttle service up and down main thoroughfares. I caught a ride in Miami this past summer. Got a ride for free. Up and down, go south, go north, goes east, go west. It works. So that's a little bit. So I drive, by the way. I do a lot of driving. I provide something. Cyclists provide nothing. They don't pay, they take. And they're, not all, but a lot of them. They do whatever they want when they're on the road. Cut people off, zigzag, go right through lights. You've all seen it. I know you have. So I encourage you to look hard at that. I know there's already some green lanes down on the roads. Well, make them temporary. We should be expanding our inadequate roads already for vehicles so that the vehicles could provide what they've always provided and increase that. Not giving away 20% of a street that's got no room to begin with. You want to give it away to a bicycle? Why? So that they could get to wherever they got to go? Citigroup? I don't know who's benefiting from that. You know, is it politically correct? Is it making some people look good? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm good. Thank you for your listening. Thank you for the nice job that you're doing. Appreciate it.
Happy holidays.
Peter. You too. Thank you.
Monique K. Andrews.
Not here. Not here.
Jason Berg.
Let's keep moving.
I know this is a misspelling, but I don't see LaKendrick Shaw here. Mr. Krenzel said he would not be speaking again. We have Sonia Dublin tonight. Nope. Are you Laura Moss? Thank you for taking the on-deck circle.
Yes, I was listening. Hi, my name's Laura Moss. I live in Ward C, and this is actually in regards to a resolution that you passed at the last meeting for the Memorandum of Understanding between the Jersey City and Hudson County in regards to 595 Newark Avenue and the future construction of a park there for the residents of Jersey City. I just thought it was really important to come down here and to let you know how appreciative we are of this memorandum, even though it's non-binding, and this is many years in the future. I started a group this summer called the Courthouse Park Advocacy Group, and we brought our needs to the attention of the administration that we really do need a park in our neighborhood, and we're looking at huge amount of development, over 14,000 units proposed at this point in time. And so this is one of our few chances to get a park. And we know that this is a long road, it's going to be very expensive, but we are very committed to having this happen. So I just thought it was important to let you guys know we're out there And we appreciate particularly Councilman Baggiano's support in this manner, and also Council President Lavarro. Thank you so much for helping us sort of navigate these waters. And we look forward to going forward with this. We know we're going to be pushing for an actual agreement at one point in time, but I did want to leave you with one little fact that Jersey City has about 1,600 acres of parkland, and in the Journal Square area, we have 0.08. So that translates to about 3,500 square feet. So we are very, very serious about getting this park, and thank you again for your support on it, and I think that's it. Hopefully the next time we come back, it'll be for a real deal. So, thank you.
Thank you. Phil Carrington will be our last speaker tonight.
Good evening, Council President Lavarro, members of the City Council. I'm here to speak on the issue of Ordinance 16126 and ask for the termination if I don't get an explanation on that. November the 12th, I came to the caucus meeting and gave a letter, and Danny Rivera passed it out for me. In that letter, it had two paragraphs, and I really asked the City Council, everybody in the City Council, to ask former Council Diane Coleman, former Council Michelle Massey, and members of the Planning Board what was the purpose for the changing of the ordinance. That part of the ordinance was Ordinance 1XA11D. But what really changed was 1XA2N. And so I was hoping that you would have asked that question to former Councilwoman Massey just now, but she, of course, the question was not asked. I met with former Councilwoman Waterman, and I made a couple statements to her. She gave me her views. I met with Danny Rivera as well and passed my opinion on. But the person I really want to, and I just met him again, I keep asking him for just 4 minutes, because someone has to look at this here seriously. You just cannot speak on this here in 5 minutes and you would be able to explain it. But my point is that it was arbitrarily made. If it was a mistake, it need to be corrected. And if it's not a mistake, then it's illegal or it is wrong. And that law was made September the 14th, 2016. And some of you were there. And so if they are going to give you misinformation, then you have a right to question. And that's basically what it is. I would like to, whomever, and all of y'all can really ask this question. And I know you do have a mountain of paper, and you do not need me to give you more paper. However, when the laws are improperly made, you have a right to question it. And that's all I really wanted, because it goes deeper than this. You see, if I can just give you a short history on this same law, back in 1998, I tried to use that law for the same 127, 133 Martin Luther King Drive. And they say that I cannot use it for a community facility, that the law says only the government can. Well, I challenged that in court. We went all the way to the Supreme Court. And I won the case because there was no such law. They secretly, arbitrarily changed the law. And the law then says, in 2001, that the government have a right to have a community facility, okay? Now, when the Hasinas wanted to use it, they changed the law back to the same thing. This is a fact. I give you the documents. Anyone want to sit with me to show you? That's why I'm asking them about it for 4 minutes. They changed the law back to what it was and allowed them to use it. So my question is, who has that kind of power that can change the law back? Michelle Massey told me she's always cussing. It's very, very distasteful when I'm talking to her, and I can't get her to look at documents. But my point is, if these people were so interested, when the law was passed, no one was here. The only one who spoke, according to the ordinance, was Michelle Massey and Diane Coleman. No one else. And so if the community was so informed that they can get you to change an ordinance and they were not here, there's something strange. I will guarantee you that none of you can tell me the difference between the community facility and the community center. Very few people knows the difference between the community center and the community facility. Only those who have a particular interest in that issue. And so something is incorrect, something is improper. And all I'm asking you all to do, anyone, to ask them what was the purpose for changing or who was the entity behind this. Simple as that. I'm Philip Carrington. That is my viewpoint. Good night.
Good night.
Kwanzaa. That's the speakers list, council persons. We're to the petitions and communications, items 6.1 through 30. We have officers' communications, 7.1. No reports of directors. We have the claims and addendum number 1. Allow me to redo the camera, please.
Michael, I thought that was pulled, the one on the, didn't we pull it? No. The one on 9th Street?
Yeah, but they pulled, but they do that.
Okay, we're on correct.
Where's Yvonne?
Okay, council members, claims and addendum number 1. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Manzari.
Aye.
Agiano.
Aye.
Yun.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Rivera. Waterman.
Aye.
Lavara.
Sorry, just give me a minute, please. My apologies.
Let's go on with the show.
Aye.
Thank you. We have a 9-0 vote to approve the claims and addendum number 1. 10.1 through 10.13. Councilperson Ridley.
I have a question on 10.9. I know we briefly discussed it in caucus, but we're moving forward with the CarePoint contract. I know there was questions around, I guess, the status of their company and if we should renew now or not renew now.
We're really in the middle of it right now.
I think that's actually one of the reasons that we're doing a month by month is to evaluate that contract to make sure that if CarePoint did in fact get the contract again, they would still be in business to provide the service to the city.
Okay.
I think that's a big reason why we're doing the month to month again.
Instead of extended. Okay. I vote aye for all.
1 to 3.
Manzari. Aye for all. Bagiano.
Aye.
Yun.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Rivera.
No on 10.9, aye on the rest.
Waterman. Aye. President.
Where are you going through?
10.1 through 10.13, first page of resolution.
Just a question, BA here?
He's not here. Maybe Nick can answer.
Who's here?
Nick is here. Maybe you can answer, Nick.
Can you just, I don't recall, it's just, why are we rejecting the copier's bid?
They get the actually state contract cheaper than individual bidding. That's why they reject our city bidding. They're going to plan to go state to contract. It's much cheaper, they say.
Councilman Yun is correct. That was the explanation given at the caucus meeting.
Yeah.
I got it. Just a comment on 10.6. We spend $100,000 annually to rent the Armory for good reason, youth programs and whatnot. I've raised this before. I just think that the administration should look into the possibility of $100,000 a year per clip, investing in building a site at that amount. That being said, I also wanted to ask the administration to provide copies or information about the programming, the daily programming over this period, and for last year. I'm not asking for past several years, but for the last year of this agreement, as to how many days we utilize the facility, as well as how many participants participate in those programs over those days. And I vote aye on all.
Okay, we have a lone negative vote, and that is on 10.9. It's 7-1. Councilman Rivera voting no, and Councilman Robinson absent. Council members 14 through 28. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Renzeri.
Aye.
Bajano.
Aye.
Yun.
I get 10 points, 14 to what, you say?
28, Michael.
28.
14 to 28.
Aye.
Solomon.
Aye.
Robinson is absent. Rivera. Waterman.
Aye.
Lavara.
I vote no on 24 and aye on all the rest.
No on 24. So 14 through 28 unanimously, except 10, 24, which is a 7-1 vote. Council President voting no. Council members, this would be the balance of business.
Robert? Oh,
Yes.
Before we start, I'd like to make a motion to remove 10.36. There was an administrative error on it, and we're going to be bringing it back to the December 18 meeting.
Want to just withdraw? Will Brian just withdraw it, make it a little easier?
Yeah, the administration will withdraw 10.36. Also, to clarify on 10.31 and 10.32, the appointments of the directors, there were some questions at caucus. We're just going to make some changes. We're hoping to bring this back for the next.
What was you saying?
The appointments of Lucinda and Allison as department directors.
Yeah.
And then
pulled them?
also.
Why?
ten-
Why was they pulled?
So there were questions around we're going to bring it back for the next meeting. There's some other appointments we want to make at the same time, but also questions around the salary, putting it on there, and also the start date.
Councilor, I have a couple questions
All right,
on other
listen.
ordinances, other resolutions. Excuse me. On 10.34.
That should be pulled.
The agreement on 9th Street, you mentioned that the language was added around the use of the facility. Can you guys sort of specifically tell us what the language is?
Yeah, if you want to come. Welcome Joe Bauman to the stage.
Brian, I thought we pulled that.
No, we pulled it from the last meeting to answer some questions and get more information, and we hope that everything we have is satisfying all those
And
questions.
we're selling it for less than what we paid for it years ago. And it was supposed to be a community center, and the people downtown got screwed. Joke.
I think your question was whether it would be restricted to a school, and the answer to that question was yes. And I don't know if that
Just identify yourself, Mr.
was Joe Bauman, Special Counsel.
I think, I guess Councilman Yoon had talked about, where is that language and how is it restricted?
It's going to be in the deed.
I'm sorry?
Can you clarify with going?
Sorry, it'll be in the deed between the JCRA and the Hudson County School of Technology. Will be a deed restriction that it remain a school.
Okay, and excuse my ignorance, but how does the process of a deed restriction work? Is that, is something the JCRA files? Is that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so the property is owned by the JCRA. Literally in the deed that will be recorded on the property as part of the transfer, it'll restrict the use to a school, which it's already restricted by the redevelopment plan, but it'll be recorded and run in perpetuity with the land.
Okay, and how do we get back that that's happened? So how do we know that
So we will
put
be
in
the
deed?
beneficiary of the deed restriction, and if it's violated, then we can enforce the deed restriction.
No, but how does the council assure that it actually gets written in? So how do we know that it's there?
Oh, besides my representation?
Yeah, I mean, not that I, you know.
I guess you could say, put it in the resolution if you like, but I'm representing to you that.
Like, I mean, can you, I mean, I'm just asking, can you literally come back with a copy of the deed in 2 months? and
happy
be
to.
Like, here's the deed.
I'd happy to do that,
Put the
yes,
restriction in. And can you just tell us exactly what the language will like say? Is it school, recreational facility, you know?
It'll be restricted to use as a school.
Okay.
Okay, so actually, council meeting, the last council caucus meeting, I bring up the two issues regarding for this transition. The first is that, I think in 1998, city spent 9.5 million, but actually that's what they say, but we far pay more than, almost more than $11 million to build the facility as a community center. And then now we sell this whole land and the improvement for $7 million. In other words, far less than what we pay. When I say we spend the $9.5 million improvement, which is not include the land. But today, we sell this one to Hudson County School of Technology, $7 million. Less than improvement cost what we bring up to 20 years ago, the price not include the land. So now, the School of Technology provide education for the people of Jewish City kids and the county. So we're not going to against that. They continue to keep as an educational place or community center is fine. But number one, make sure that, actually I say number one, restrict D to they only can use for school or educational purpose community center. Number two, based on our experience, we have an experience like 3-4 months ago. After that, they transferred land to now School of Technology. Down the road, 5-10 years later, if they decide to sell the land to private developer, we want to make sure that we get some piece, not the piece, major pieces. Because the $7 million appraisal come from based on use that location as only school.
Correct.
But if they use for other property as any commercial or residential development, the land, almost 1.6 acre land, close to more than $20 million. So we put our tax dollars to build up the place, end of the day, who make money? County. So we want to make sure that we sell by $7 million, but in the future, can be 5, 10, 20 years later, whatever they sell the difference, we should get the half of that difference to our side. So that the dollar fund we can use for in the future, build up the community center, something for benefit to city of Georgia City, people of Georgia City. So we want you two things in there. One, restrict D for use. Number two, if they sell the for private development in the future, whatever is the difference out of the over the $7 million, whatever is they make that, they should pay half of that to city of Jersey City. Other than that,
what I was going to say, Councilman, is so the purpose of the deed restriction is that they can't do what you're describing. They can't sell it for a residential project, for example. If they tried to do that, they'd violate the deed restriction, and the only way they could do that is to come back and ask your permission. At that point, you could negotiate for 75% of the upside or 100%. You would be in total control of that process in the future.
but this is the problem. In Journal Square, like a 6 lot owned by city of Jersey City, and we sold a lot to the Hudson County Community College used for educational student parking. But instead they use a student parking, they lease that land to private parking company, and meantime, they not even pay tax. They use our land as a commercial use. Now they want to sell their land to private investor.
Yeah.
Well, so what we get, damn, this council put up that resolution.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but that's the purpose of
You
the
know
deed
what?
restriction.
If our council members smart enough, they should stop that sale.
Hold it, Mike.
But unfortunately, this council proved that.
Councilman.
I'm the only one against
Let's
it.
take it down a notch.
You know what? That's what I'm saying. We gotta print that the word in the contract, so even though we're not here, we continue protect interests of Georgia City and the people of Georgia City.
I agree. We're going to put it in the deed.
So if we agree,
It's
put
going to
it
be in the deed.
He said he's agreed to put it in a deed restriction.
Yeah.
First of all.
Not only this restriction,
Mike.
You know what I'm saying? Not only this restriction, we gotta make sure that.
The deed restriction is the best protection you can get.
But-
Because it's, anyone that
So,
uses it has to.
just so we can expedite, so besides the deed restriction, what else are you looking for, Councilman?
I'll tell you what we should be looking for is when this was built, I was very involved with the people downtown, Hamilton Park Association.
We're trying to finish.
This is a shame what's going on. They built that, the people got screwed, we paid the taxpayers' money, and they leased it to a school when it was supposed to be a community center. They lied to the people of Jersey City, the mayor at that time, and it was wrong. And this deal should not be going through as it is.
All right, so.
It's a joke, Mike. Forget about it.
So I don't want to belabor this point, just, you'll have the deed restriction for exclusive use as a school.
And I'll share it with the council.
And if I could just add, so that it'd be clear that it's exclusive use of a school. Just so the council knows in full transparency on it, I did have a conversation about the county, about the possibility of building on the air rights above the school to, for some private development of some sort, suggesting that that could help finance our schools and things of that nature. That's neither here nor there. They didn't necessarily entertain that idea. They said they want to use it exclusively for school, but they also said there were structural issues with regard to the building itself that they couldn't exactly build on the air rights. That being said, I just want to make sure that, if that ever should come to fruition, it'd still be a school there technically, but there potentially could be residential development on top, and that
That would
the
not be
language that you put
permitted.
in there just covers that scenario as well.
Okay, yeah. I did speak to them after our last meeting, made sure they agreed that it has to be in the deed, and they agreed. So I think we're all on the same page.
Listen, you know what I like to put it in? Two things. One is a restrict D is one thing, but also we gotta print the word because 10, 15 years later, or 20 years later, we're not gonna be here. New council peoples, they don't know what's going on. So if we put in that the contract, use of the restrict of use, and if they sell any private sectors, they have a certain amount they have to come to Jersey City, so we can remind them, the future council people, the council people 2019 printed the paper, so they can ask that, well, 2019, December 4, City Council put on that a certain property sharing, then now, where is the property? They can ask.
So I think what I'm trying to tell you.
Restrict D is enough, but if we just make sure, put in their word, make them understand what we did today.
I guess, not to get too far in the weeds on you, but if it's in the deed, then anyone that goes to use it will find it. If it's just in a contract, to your point, people may forget. So it's very important that we put it in the deed, and under real estate law, the contract merges into the deed. So the deed is the place we want it, because anyone that does a title search, anyone that borrows money, they will go look at the title and they'll see the deed and they'll find it. So it's the best place for us to protect ourselves.
Yes, but I agree with you 100%. You didn't say it wrong. You're right. But what happened 3 months ago, even though we restrict D use for their parking lot, and still this council prove it to sell for private investor. I don't want those things happen again 5, 10, 15 years later.
How soon can you say?
I understand.
So put it in, just let me finish it. Put in the word, if anything in the future, the city council lifted the deed restrict, then the city council should be asked that some kind of a property sharing with a land sale. That's what I'm saying.
You could.
If it's not, it's gonna happen like what happened 3 months ago. I mean, we are damn stupid again? We're gonna make the same mistake again? Come on, time to stop again.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
So now,
call for the vote on this.
no, listen, we're not talking $1 million, we're talking millions of dollars, so don't rush that, Council President. So can't you put in 2 things in there, in the contract? I'm asking you.
Yeah, I will put in the deed restriction, yes.
Only one,
Well, I would discourage you from striking a deal on what might happen in the future, because you could probably do better than 50% perhaps. I think that's a deal to be negotiated in the future if it ever happens. Right now, they can't do it. They have to come back. So to presume it should be 50% when maybe you could get 90%, I don't know, or 100%. I think you should, they have to come to you. They're going to have to come back if they want to do it, and you should negotiate your deal when you have facts that you can figure out. It just,
yes, 3 months ago, they come to city council, ask that they remove that they restrict. This council, I'm the only one council, ask that pay some dollars to city council, but rest of the council prove that without ask some dollars.
Yeah.
So those things happen again because I'm not trusting my colleague. I'm not trusting the future council people. So that's why we like to put it in, so they know that City of Jersey entitled to get some portion of the profit. What's the big deal? And it's to protect people of Jersey and City of Jersey. If any council person prove that without their word, this is resolution 1034,
Can
They
you
got
commit
out
to
of their
including
mind.
language that includes what he's suggesting at a minimum of 50%?
yes.
How's that?
yeah, I just don't want them to think they could do anything other than a school. That's why I wanted to say only a school. So,
I understand.
But listen, number one, if they continue to use that as school, they don't have the fray of the profit sharing. You know what I'm saying? But if in the future, if they have some other idea they have in mind, then they're going to issue what we ask profit sharing.
they'll come see you.
Simple.
Yep.
I mean, how simple is that? And while we afraid this council, just give us like a blank check again, like what we did 3 months ago. By the way, business owner, Brian Platt, did you collect the tax, what didn't pay property tax? There's 6 lot in the Journal Square? Oh, is that right? What, you thought about your baby now? You look at something else, by
Okay, come on.
So please, so
Okay.
can't you do that 2 things in the contract?
He said he can.
You say?
You will.
Yeah,
Do that? Good.
Thank you.
that's what the council's
All right.
asking for.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Now, when
we're
you
done.
do, you say you do it, but now, can we copy of that, the way Councilman
We'll
James
get you a
Sullivan said,
copy.
can we have a copy of that?
When?
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
So in other words, before you guys approve the signed contract, the contract copy should come to City Council to review.
I
Fair
just make
enough?
sure we're on the same page. We're talking about the deed, right?
Okay, based on what you say, you know what I'm saying, based on what you say, I'm gonna take your word, all right?
Thank you.
Who knows, maybe you go
Thank you.
someplace
That's all I got.
All right, hold on. I have a question on a different resolution before we vote. It's not for you, Joe, unless you want to talk
Yeah,
about
let
this.
him go.
I know.
Yeah, Joe. Well, again,
Business Administrator, what if any changes were made on 1038, the Booton Reservoir, between, what was presented at the council caucus versus today?
Councilman, if when you click on in your online system, if you click on the link for the Booton Reservoir resolution and go to the fact sheet, I think it's Booton PMP edits. And that will include all of the changes were made, mostly regarding the stormwater management related to, and having those improvements completed before the trails went open. Specifically, that was to one of your points from the caucus meeting. It's a link you can click on.
It's going to take me a minute. I don't know if you guys are able to summarize while I find it.
So there are a number of revisions suggest that there's a section at,
You talk about 1038?
yeah.
So they say they're gonna put it in the contract, they're gonna provide the stormwater management plan, and that they're not gonna be open at the trial till they come up plan as well as funding, right? Fair enough. You know, I understand, they're fair enough.
Michael, what are we talking? Okay, Ren?
Booton Reservoir.
I know, how do we get off of this other thing on the school?
We're done.
We're going to vote on that one.
we ready?
Yep.
Balance of business, 1029 through 40, we did 43, 42 is withdrawn. 31, 32, and 36 are withdrawn, so it's the balance of business.
31, 32, 33.
What is that, 30?
31, 32, and 36 are withdrawn.
What is that school?
Councilperson Ridley?
Aye.
Prinzary?
Aye.
Yes,
Fagiano?
No on 34, because I think it's a fraud that was perpetuated upon the people of Jersey City years ago, and it's a fraud now, giving it to a school. It should be put back to a community center like was promised to us years ago. And yes on the rest.
Councilman Yun?
You know, I'm gonna vote for yes, but 1034 with condition, the way you say you're gonna do it, okay? The restricted D, and in the future, when you sell that, they have some kind of a 50% of excess profit sharing with that. Based on your promise, you know, and you say, I'm gonna vote for I, and especially Bunton Reservoir, what the league say, they put on the contract, right? They're gonna provide the rainwater system, you know, to improve the Jersey water quality, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
The amendment was that the stormwater improvements that are going to be done would be done before the trails open.
Based on your state, I'll vote for I, okay?
And sorry, Nick, if I can just follow. So I'm reading the language now. When it says stormwater improvements will be constructed in conjunction with each phase of the trail, and the phase will not open prior to the improvements being constructed, and then the improvements are expected primarily in phases 2 and 4. So who determines if, you know, an improvement has been constructed to the point that the phase can then open?
We have somebody from the Open Space Institute that can answer that. That's how it's decided.
Hi, Council. Eve Boyce. I'm with the Open Space Institute. We've met before. So the next phase of the project is to get the actual engineering and design done, and that will include the engineering and design of all of the water improvements. We will be reporting to you all quarterly, so we're happy to report on what the engineering and design looks like. And then the construction will be permitted, and the construction will have to follow the permitting, which is based on that design.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but so you're moving to the phase of construction design. Are you doing that for all 4 phases or just for phase 1?
All 4 phases.
Okay. And then when you come up with that design, and you would then submit it for construction approval, so you would send it to Jersey City, but Jersey City would not have the ability to formally approve or deny. You would just submit it informationally, and then you would have to submit it for site plan to the appropriate people in Morris County, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Although Jersey City reserves the right to.
Right, we have the ability to terminate the agreement. Yeah, got it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and also.
Excuse me, wait, excuse me.
Yeah.
Wait, Councilman.
Okay.
Would you spell your name for the
Sure.
court?
EVEBOYCE.
And okay, let me ask you. Just I want to repeat. I want to make a conform. You say the council caucus meeting. You say that Morris County Park Commissioner they have a funding for that invest for rainwater management, development plans, right?
Correct.
Good.
So the property management plan commits to at least 2 stormwater improvements. There have been a number of different runoff areas identified, but we're going to move forward with the engineering for all of them.
But only one concern we have that before that improvement is started, you gotta take the water test. The information have to be in there somewhere, and after they open the trial, like a year later, every year, they should provide water quality test to City of Jersey.
That's part of the plan. It's not something that's specifically required in the language, but we will do that.
Okay, great.
We call for the vote.
James,
So, yeah, I've asked my questions. I'm ready to vote because I think it's my turn now. So, Robert, let me know. Well, I'll just talk while you're going there. Just briefly on 1034, I would have liked to see if we could have done something differently, but the lease really gives Hudson County the ability to, extend every 5 years without us giving us any rights. So we're just not in a great place from that perspective. But Councilman Bosciano is not wrong in that downtown has a bunch of needs, and that building was built to meet some of those needs, whether it be school or community space, and we're getting none of it from it. So it's disappointing that, you know, whenever that agreement was first put in place, it hamstrung the city. So we'll see if we can do more with it. And then on 1038, I appreciate the changes made based on some of the questions asked at Council Caucus. I genuinely think that Open Space Institute and a lot of the people working on this are trying to do right by both Jersey City and Morris County. And with that said, you know, I think we could have negotiated a significantly stronger deal for Jersey City. So while, you know, there's a lot of good in it, and then a lot of things that I think could be better, you're forced to make a binary choice, so I'll be voting no on that. So Robert, just to record my votes, it's aye on, well, let me just say this, so it's no on 1038, and it's abstain on 1040, and then it's aye on all the rest.
1038, abstain on 1040.
Yep. And then aye on all the rest.
Do I have it right? No on 38, abstain on 40.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Councilperson Rivera.
You know, the unfortunate part is that I have to abstain on 34, but let me be very clear with council members here. This was, when it came, this was a community center. I can't tell you how many times this school was used for basketball programs, indoor soccer programs, indoor softball clinics, indoor minor league t-ball and instructional clinics, indoor minor 5-year-olds through 7-year-olds basketball clinics.
Home of St. Anthony's.
All of St. Anthony's. So if you really don't know what happened in that building, don't comment about the things that never happened in that building. That building was very much engaged with the community. You know, but
You're abstaining on?
I'll abstain on 34, aye on all.
Thank you, sir. Councilperson Waterman.
Aye.
Councilperson Lavaro, Council President.
Just Joe, thank you for your time, and Joe, you've always been professional and a gentleman, and been helpful to the council. And so I would just ask my colleagues if we could. I know the passions get hot, but Joe's always been very professional with us all, and deserves to be treated as such. So thank you, Joe. But that being said, on 1034, just at one time it was also a charter school, right? So just to make sure that this is a public school, right? So whether it's charter, county, Jersey City Public School, going forward, future, that the language, or wherever the language is inside of the deed restrictions and contracts and so forth, reflect a public school in that sense. That being said, I'm going to vote aye on all. Aye on all.
Aye and all. Okay, allow me to recap, please. We have on 1034 a 6-1 vote, no cast by Councilperson Bajano, abstention by Councilperson Rivera. 1038 is 7-1, no cast by Councilman Solomon. 1040 is 701, abstention cast by. Yes, abstention by on 1040. That was, I just said that. Yeah, got it. Finally got one right. Okay, it is 9:43 p.m.
Motion.
We have a motion by Councilperson Prinzary, seconded by Councilperson Ridley, to adjourn by acclamation with Councilman Robinson absent. Happy holidays, everyone.
Oh, we got one more.
Oh, no, we got another meeting. I'm rushing it.
Took longer than I thought.
Yeah.
We are almost.
I thought this was going to be